Welcome everyone to Truth, Wellness, and Psychic Adventures. Get ready for unedited, unfiltered, and unbiased talks with Polly and Kristin, because life is unedited. Are you ready to experience your highest vibrational life, seek truth, and improve your overall wellness? You're in the right place. With tales of psychic experiences and expansive living, we are covering topics that bring the mystical into our everyday lives. Intrigued? Call us now at 1-800-930-2819. We are guiding callers toward their highest expression of self. You get not one, but two psychic life coaches. Your soul's sacred journey to truth is important to us. No question is too big or too small. Stay tuned. You're about to join in on a wild psychic ride. Truth, Wellness, and Psychic Adventures starts now. Welcome to Truth, Wellness, and Psychic Adventures. I'm Kristin. As always, here with me in the Redwoods is Polly. How are you?
Good. Hello, everybody. And actually, it looks like I'm in the giant redwoods, but I'm actually in Hawaii. And it's early here. Well, it's 7 now, but Kristin and I started talking like almost an hour ago. So
it doesn't look like Hawaii. I mean, just with the minimum window I can see behind you, it's very woodsy.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I love the trees here, but we're like, I can see the ocean from where I'm at, but there's, it's beautiful.
It's Hawaii. You can't go wrong.
Can't go wrong. You cannot go wrong, friend.
Only right. Only right.
I'm excited about today's topic. I'm super excited about today's topic because people talk about karma all the time.
All the time. And you have people saying, well, that's your karma, or I don't believe in karma. Like, you get the full gamut. Yeah. And my favorite, this is my absolute favorite, unless it's, you know, something that I've done and it comes at me. My youngest daughter will say, like, if there's an altercation between her and a sibling, they get feisty and the sibling turns and walks away and trips, she'll be like, that's your karma.
Okay, but look at that. I believe is probably how it's used the most.
Agreed. Yes. And it's the most like basic evidence of it.
Yeah. Or another thing is like, if there's been an altercation between two people and you know, somebody's hurt and they say, well, karma will get her. And I think if we may just roll right into the subject.
We may, girl.
I actually am not a big, I won't say that. Okay, I'll say this. I'm not a big believer in that aspect of karma, like that short term, like, well, she'll get her karma because she just, you know, hit my car and drove away. Because I don't believe it's like on those small pieces. For me, I believe like karma is more like that's like a thread of her karma, whoever this her is. It's a thread of her karma. But the big thing, her karma is like how she moves through life. Like that's the biggest thing. Like for me, if I think of like our karma, when we come into this life, what our true karma is how we move through life. Mm-hmm. So do we move through life expecting, you know, can I swear a little bit?
Absolutely.
Not a real swear, but true. Okay. If we move through life expecting, you know, crap to just befall our path constantly, that's our karma. Our karma is our belief system. Mm-hmm. And so I think that that's the biggest thing. So yes, if we do something asinine and then walk away from it, yes, that's a thread of our karma. It's a thread of, I'll say Johnny's karma or whatever, if that makes sense.
Yes. And so with that, like loosely intertwined or possibly more than that with like your karmic path is also law of attraction, like whatever you're kind of calling in.
Absolutely.
So I always think about that. You know, last show we talked about manifesting, which obviously encompasses law of attraction, which inevitably affects karma. Like it is all linked together in some capacity.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, and can I make a little sidebar here?
Totally. I love a good sidebar.
So we talked about manifest last time, and I said I was trying to I was manifesting the sale of my home, right?
Yes.
Okay. The home is under contract. It went under contract like a week ago, I think.
Good.
Okay, but here's the interesting part, because you know there's always interesting parts. Whatever we're talking about, life is interesting. Okay, here's the interesting part. Went under contract, but you know there must be like some little, you know, crinkle in my thought process, because it has gone under contract, and knock on wood, boop, boop, it'll close, but on the 22nd. But we'll have to see. That'll be the next show. But it has not been streamlined easy. Right. And so I did manifest it going under contract, but I also manifested a few little things that had to be ironed out. And we're going to see today. I'll find out later if they're really ironed out. And so I think it's so interesting, like how our thoughts, how we move through life, how that really brings into the world, what we're moving through, if you will.
Totally. Because potentially you could have been strong manifesting. You knew exactly what your desire is and everything was on point there. But maybe subliminally you felt like, well, there's probably going to be some hiccups along the way.
Absolutely. And so here we are.
Yeah.
Our friend.
So I love this concept of karma, because it very much is like you're empowered. You can essentially, not for the entirety, but you have a lot of creation in your own way to dictate your karma and your path. But I will say also, I think in the idea of karma and how it works, you must believe, or it would benefit you to believe, in past lives. Because there's some of that karma that trickles down. I feel like the life I'm living right now as Kristin, I do have my karmic lessons to fulfill and destiny, but inevitably, I believe that it is influenced by past lives and lessons not learned or karmic debt acquired or something like that. So for the most part, it's my life experience now, but there are other things. Like, for instance, have you ever noticed that there's a certain lesson that presents itself repeatedly in your life in different phases of your life? And if you have you noticed that your mom or dad or son or daughter has also encountered a similar lesson? And that's the stuff that fascinates me. Like, is this generational? Is this past life? Like, am I trying to learn this lesson so my kid doesn't have to? Like, how deep can we go here?
Yeah, generational trauma, generational karma. But again, and I do agree with that, but here's the thing. Again, the greatest thing, and I believe it can all be erased, but the only way to erase it is changing your mindset. Because it does not matter what life lesson, sorry that I'm pointing.
Oh, I love it.
It does not matter what life lesson we come into, whatever rolls into our life, as we know things roll in. Our mindset dictates how we move through that. And so the greatest thing we can do is change our mindset and move in a higher vibrational mindset.
And here's the thing, like, that sounds so easy, but it is not. I mean, it should be easy. Like, oh, I don't have to get up and run a marathon. I don't have to like change relationships and tweak all this. All I have to do is change the way I think. Easy. I can do that sitting down. But habits, thought patterns, those are some of the hardest habits to break.
But here's the thing. And I think my blog that's coming out on Wednesday mentions this, but here's the thing. It can be a challenge. Like, look, you and I both know people that have been practicing, and us, I'll just speak for both of it. Both of us are like, we're constantly thinking, well, how can we better improve the way we move through life?
Yes.
Right. And so yes, there's that approach, but there's also, I believe that we have these reality shifts, because that's exactly what it is a reality shift that allows us to move through life differently, to experience these life lessons differently. Those reality shifts, if you will, can happen like this. And all it is connecting to a higher vibration. Ask your angels.
Yes. Yes. And I think it was you that suggested this one time, that ask your angels, but then also invite them in to guide your thoughts.
Yes, because that's the way I look at it, is like, look at this light around me.
It's very apropos.
But that's the way I look at it. Like, if you think of, Archangel Michael and like, wow, I really need Archangel Michael here to protect me. I'm going through something. It's almost like your energy merges with Archangel Michael. So Archangel Michael becomes part of your energy and you move with him.
I love that. That feels so safe and strong.
And it's a merging of energies.
Yeah.
Right? Which is, who knows? We're not going to really know this stuff until the other side, but that's what it feels like to me.
Yeah, totally. And who doesn't want a little strength from an angel to get through the day, especially if you've got an obstacle?
Peace, abundance, Mother Mary, I love her for houses that are going through trials and tribulation. Bring in that energy so the whole family merges with Mother Mary.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes. And I have a house full of 3 teenagers. So inevitably there's always a transformation and things to move through.
Okay. I have a question, Kristin. What's the number? If somebody wants to call in and ask us a question about karma, anything.
We're here for it. The phone number is 1-800-930-2819. And do call in. We're here. Obviously, we're talking karma, but if you have any question whatsoever, you want a free psychic reading, you want us to pull a card, you want to just have a chit chat, call in 1-800-930-2819. And I have had a few people reach out over Instagram, and I will let you know now what I've told them. You can be anonymous. You don't have to state your name on radio. You can just ask your question and we'll talk you through it. We don't need to know your name.
Absolutely not. Yes. And I will say this, I have gotten comments about how people are enjoying that we're answering questions, right? Like we bring that there's questions posed.
Yes.
There's more of a teaching platform. So we appreciate any feedback that we get because this is a brand spanking new program.
It is. And we're here for the people.
We are here for the people. I mean, we like each other. We like doing this stuff, but we ultimately want to be serving others. Okay. So I know Kristin does this. She does a lot of research.
I do. It's true.
Before the show, ask me if I do.
Well, you're just a natural. But this is the funny thing. And this is why, you know what? This is why you didn't need to. Because when I did the research, time and again, I came up with all over the internet the phrase, the 12 laws of karma. And I had no idea that the 12 laws of karma were a thing. So I asked Polly, I was like, did you know there are? And she said, yes, indeed, I did. So
yeah, but that does not mean that I know what they are. I'm familiar, like I know it's out there, but that certainly does not mean I know.
Well, the first one I feel like resonates the most because it's so common sense. The first law of karma is cause and effect, which I feel like potentially if I was going to break it down and try to give you, the layperson, a definition of karma, that would almost be it. Just so they can kind of understand how it works. Like there is a cause and effect of it. There's more to it, but that seems like a really bare bones basic way to kind of tap into what karma is.
And you could think of that as like a short term, like in this life, okay, you run somebody off the road and maybe that jangles your nerves so much that you drive away and get in an accident, right? Mm-hmm. So you can think of short term like that, kind of like what we were talking about earlier, the sibling tripping, or we can think of it as generational trauma where something happened, a group in a past life, and then they're having that experience in this life. Mm-hmm. So it could be cause and effect, short term and long term.
And the interesting, unique part of that, what you said is, yeah, maybe you run off the road and then it jangles your nerves and then you get in an accident. The jangles your nerves is the component that makes it unique to you. Some people could run someone off the road and be not affected at all and go on, and their karmic path would just take them straight away because that didn't go against the grain of who they are. Other people would be so bothered they would have to pull over and have a full moment, and then that would be their path. And then others continue on and maybe get in an accident. So there's things that happen, and it's not like it's going to be the same result for every person that it happens to. There's so many underlying facts that dictate how it will affect you down the road. So cause and effect, yet who are you and what is your unique reaction? And you're almost like your moral compass, like, was that wrong that I ran them off the road?
If you really kind of feel like it is, then the path is going this way. If you feel like, well, they deserved it and, they'll be fine and who cares? And it truly doesn't bother your inner workings, then it's a different path. So it's deeper than just cause and effect.
Yeah, I agree. It's so interesting. Well, it has to be deeper, at least on this level, right? I mean,
Yes.
it's human level, right?
In this realm.
In this realm, if you will.
Law number 2 is creation, which I don't know. That didn't resonate with me so much. I get that it is our karma will impact on what we're creating, and what we create will impact our karma. But I think cause and effect was so profound to me that creation was like,
okay, but look at it this way. And I'm sure that I've brought this up because it's one of my core beliefs. But so here's how I look at it. I look at it as once enough of, and I know we're going to talk about the collective. Oh, my light's shifting. I know we're going to talk about the collective karma, but I do believe that after enough, I'll say the human consciousness, enough of our collective reaches a higher vibrational way of thinking, then this amazing shift happens, right? So this amazing shift happens. But I will also say this, I believe that this way of being, this high vibrational way of being for a collective is already a possibility. It's already there. And so in that sense, our creation, we could already be in that, experiencing that higher vibrational way of being. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah.
I know that it's such a tricky thing because most of us have causes that we believe in. Like for me, I'm a vegan. I very much, I don't want a house full of animals, but I'm very much a vegan because I see them as sentient beings. And so people who have a cause, you look at the stuff that's going on in the world and you're like, oh my God, there's so much pain and suffering. But I do believe that there's already a world where there is not the pain and suffering. And that is the karma, the creation. I guess that's the way I'm looking at what you're saying, the karma of
creation. Yeah. How creation and karma come together. Yeah. That makes more sense to me. I wasn't thinking of it like that, but I think that makes sense. The third rule is humility, which I love this because I am always humbled in life. And just when I think I'm not, I am. And I feel like it knocks out the ego a little bit, makes you a little bit vulnerable. And everyone is more raw and real and connective when they're a little bit vulnerable. And I love that. So humility goes a long way with me, I think.
Humility, I mean, if you've got kids, you learn a lot about humility.
You know what? Those signs, like some people have those signs in their living room, live, laugh, love. I'm just going to put one up that says humility.
It's true. I mean, okay, there's just so many. Can we talk about judgment and karma? Oh,
for sure.
Because, okay, like if somebody, like say I get irritated, okay, well, no, I won't say this, but say there's a situation that's irritated me or you look around at whoever and you can say, well, that's their karma and the judgment of that. But we never know. We never know what is going on. And who are we to say that is their karma? Because we don't know.
Exactly. You have no clue.
No. Mm-mm. And okay, on another little sidebar, I was on a trail the other day and we were talking, and the person I was with, we were talking about, I guess, spirituality in general. And so he was saying that somebody that he likes listening to was saying, it was say it was World War II, like somebody that was involved. We'll say Hitler. I can't remember. Wasn't Hitler, but somebody, and how, they are going to have this amazing karma that they're going to have to go through when they come back. But in the same sense, I have heard, and again, we don't know this for sure, but before we come into this life, and I do believe this, we have soul groups and we have soul groups to learn certain lessons. And so if Hitler was part of this karmic exchange, if you will, this energetic exchange of helping humanity the collective learn this lesson, right? And so, okay, his karma was to does that make sense? Like there's more.
It does.
There's more to it than any of us can. There's so many layers.
There is. And I think sometimes we're just not ready to understand. Sometimes if you've been hurt so badly, or you're so passionate about a cause and there's a lot of pain that came from this cause, then you can't go above it. Like if someone hurt my kid, but yet that person had a bad upbringing and suffered, it's hard for me to feel bad for them because my kid's hurt. Like it's tough.
It really is. And I don't know. And you brought this up earlier. There's so many different levels to our life and to learning and to these experiences. There's so many different energetic levels that it's really impossible for us to see the way it's woven together, right? Because it's beyond, I think it's beyond what our human consciousness can understand. And so this is where faith comes in.
I was just going to say, that's where we have to trust. You're exactly right. You have to believe in, it is working out and everyone's on their journey. And instead of judging, just sit back and offer quiet support if you can do nothing else, or just try to go numb to it.
Can I share a little story? Okay, this is going to be, whatever. This is like something that I'm dealing with right now. Okay. And you know what? I'm sure I'm going to write about this. Well, I know it'll be in a book. Okay. But so I'm in my second Saturn return. So that's when you're like, oh, hallelujah. The lessons.
I love this for you.
That you've been working on. And guess what? For me, my lessons are a lot of relationship, a lot of independence, a lot of, like safety, all that stuff for me. That's what I've been working on my whole flipping life. Sometimes so easy, like look at me go. Oh, we've got 3 minutes. Sometimes not so easy. So right now I'm having some real relationship, like in the last year, real relationship stuff going, like I'll just say that. And a lot of growth, a lot of peace, a lot of growth. My mom right now is having some health setbacks, and she's on the mainland and I'm in Hawaii, and I have to be here because for various reasons, I have to be here. But somebody on the outside looking in could be like, oh my God, her mom is having these health setbacks.
True.
Why? In the light of the angels, right?
Yeah, with the ocean view. Yeah.
Yeah, but guess what? There are so many extenuating circumstances, but it would be so easy to be like, oh my God, there she is in Hawaii, basking in the sun. And so I'm like, okay, we can pretty much take anything and frame it.
Yeah, we could. Oh my God. And that's what attorneys do in a case in court. They take it and tweak it.
That's literally what people do. Like we do it all the time.
We do. Sad, but true.
I think it's so difficult to be able to give the space, right? Because that's what you have to do. You have to step back and allow the space for things to be revealed.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the greatest thing, is allowing space for things to be revealed, the lessons to be revealed, for the energy to settle. That feels better to me, for the energy to settle. Because as long as we're judging, the energy is not settling. There's resistance.
And there's a certain amount of awareness that has to happen. Like you have to be self-aware that you're doing that. You have to be aware of the people and a little bit empathetic to what they may or may not be going through, because it's something. We're all going through something.
Right. But as long as we're judging, there is, we've got 1 minute before we take a break. But as long as we're judging, there is resistance, right? And so that is affecting the flow of energy.
Oh, for sure. That's the best way to say it. Yep. Nothing's going to be fluid like that.
Nothing is be at peace.
When we come back from break, we're going to start with the fourth law of karma. It's growth.
Got a lot to do. I better stop talking.
All right. Truth, wellness, and psychic adventures with Polly and Kristin. We'll be back in a minute. Hi, welcome back to Truth, Wellness, and Psychic Adventures. Kristin and Polly are here talking all things karma. Okay, so we have a lot to discuss. We are on the 12 laws of karma. We're at number 4, growth. And how would you describe growth in terms of how it relates to karma?
Okay, well, this is a really good question because you and I chatted on Zoom before we hopped on this show. And when I was talking, I was hearing evolving karma. And I was like, okay.
Really?
Yeah. And I think that this is it. I think that evolving karma in terms of like, you know, we have the ability to have such expansive awareness, right? And so perhaps that's the thing is like our karma, we have, okay, this is what they're showing me. I'm just going to share with you guys. So we really do have the awareness to live. It's so interesting. They're showing this to me right now. We have the awareness to live on different planes or to receive this karmic experience, understanding, evolution from different planes of thought. Does that make sense? So different vibrational thoughts.
Okay.
And so that is the evolving concept or the evolving karma, like where we're not just in this earthly experience, but we have the ability to reach these far more expansive karmic understandings, but we're not just living there. We're pulling from different planes. Does that make sense?
Yes. Okay. Yeah. And I would not have gone there when I read growth. I was actually like, but this I like better, like that.
And they're showing it to me like with all these colors. Like if you can imagine, like, you know, the rain, like it's just like so colorful, so beautiful and colorful. And that is our growth. And this is what they're saying. That's literally, this is why we're here. Is to have this transformation, this beautiful transformation. Mm-hmm. And the other thing they're showing me is like how we support each other in this expansion.
Yes. Okay. So then this loops right into the next law is responsibility, which I feel is huge because we can't go through this haphazardly, whimsical, and who cares what happens. We have to be responsible for certain actions that we take, thoughts we have, habits that we continue to allow, relationships that we nurture. Like we have to be responsible for all this. And we will be. Karma will allow us to be.
I love the word nurture, and I totally agree with that. But it also goes back to that, the thing of how we sometimes make spirituality a chore. And so yes, absolutely responsible. But in some ways, it's make your practices, make your spiritual practices fun. Like do things on the new moon if that's what, you know, have these loving ceremonies, do things that make so that it takes the judgment out of it. You're doing these things because you believe it's good for you, it's good for the world, it's right. Mm-hmm. You know, like how I have my circle, my rose quartz circle that I go out and I do like my, you know, gratitude, or if there's something going on or the new moon, I walk in that and I just recite like prayers and mantras.
Yes. And it's easy and brings you joy.
Oh God, it's so easy. Mm-hmm.
And for you, and maybe someone else would be like, oh my gosh, that sounds like a painful chore. And they would need a different practice.
Absolutely. But it doesn't, I think, keep it fun.
Yes. Yeah. That's the best way to describe it for sure. Law number 6, connection, which I feel like we've covered, like everything is connective. And after we discuss these laws, I'm excited to talk about the collective karma. Like that's interesting to me.
Okay. I have to say this about the connection though. I do believe, like, you know, like if we, I do believe, because I think about I talk to God about this every morning when I go through my chakras, is having loving connections, having easy connections, having inspired connections. So I do think it's important for us to think about, and nobody does all this stuff. Oh my God. I mean, I'm not saying that what I'm saying this. Nobody moves through the world and every moment is like this conscious. I mean, we do have the capability of it, but most of us don't do it. But I think it is a good practice to look at how you are connecting to certain things. And if certain things that you're connecting with don't feel good, let it go or change the connection, right?
Yes.
So I do think connection is important.
Oh, for sure. And being aware of it and purposeful with it. definitely. The next one is force.
Yeah. And that goes to that resistance. It goes back to what we were just talking about. If there's resistance, then there's not that flow of energy.
Yeah. Okay.
You're not having like this beautiful, clean, anything where there's, for example, if there's tomfoolery going on in the closing of my house and I have resistance to it, there's not this nice flow.
It's true. Yeah. And we're after the nice flow.
Yeah. Yes. If I'm assuming something.
Giving.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I think that's so interesting because, again, it has to be like where you are freely offering, right? You're freely offering. And maybe that's a better word, is offering versus giving.
I like that better too. Because giving, it means like, here you go, take it. Offering just means it is available. I am open. This is what I have to give.
Yeah. Doesn't it seem like much more free flowing?
Yeah. And I like it better. I like that word better. Okay. The 9th law of karma is here and now, which to me means like it's happening here now, like be present, and we can kind of speed things up or slow things down by how much we act in the here and now, like how really present and accounted for we are right now with what's going on. Like too much in the past, too much in the future, too much daydreaming, and you're not really going to get through any kind of karmic lesson.
Yeah. I mean, now is the perfect time to evolve.
Yes.
And the thing, it doesn't have to be like some traumatic time. It literally could be like you and I could say goodbye and then go sit at the end of the couch and just have this moment of asking for a higher understanding. And maybe that's it. It's just a higher understanding.
And you brought up a good point. Like karma doesn't have to be heavy and complicated. It is so simple and easy. And we tend to make it like that occasionally.
Absolutely. I mean, karma it's such a loaded word. I mean, as is love, as is authentic. Like that's a word that I'd like to just scratch out. But there's so many loaded words, right?
For sure. And then just to jump in, if you have any questions about karma or anything for that matter, 1-800-930-2819, give us a call and we can talk you through it. The last 3 laws of karma: change, patience and reward, and then significance and inspiration. Of all of those, my favorite is patience and reward, because I feel like that is a more specific way to say cause and effect with not as much action. So I feel like patience is just me waiting and being okay with the waiting and then trusting that the reward will come. So to me, that step has cause and effect. It has manifesting. It has raising my vibration. So I bring in a reward that I like. I feel like that encompasses everything I love about karma, is the patience reward.
Yeah, and what I find interesting, and this might not be exactly patience and reward, but I think, well, it is, because it's like what they're showing me here is like the labeling of things. Like as soon as we can begin to move through life without labeling, without buying into a label of something being good, bad, scary, whatever, as soon as we can start moving through life without labeling, we just bypass, we just flow. Like we're just going to be flowing through life, if that makes sense.
And you know what's interesting about that is when you were talking, I was like, yeah, there's the judgment again. There's us judging. And then immediately in my head, it came to like a kindergarten classroom where we're teaching labels and we're teaching feelings. And we're really making kids at an early age label things and judge things as, this is a good behavior, this is a bad behavior. And that's so in us right out of the gate that it's no wonder we turn out to be like this.
And the other thing that's so interesting is you're so right. Like we've programmed this society or probably world where where if it's the unknown, if you can't put a label on something, it's scary. Like you don't feel as safe, right?
Which is why people stick in ick rather than get out there and try something unknown. Yeah. They're like, well, I know this, even though it's not fun.
Yeah. But again, I always have to say this. Because because I love having these conversations, I love making it, because it can be as easy or as difficult as we want. But even with this awareness of me being able to see certain things, feel certain things, whatever, I'm telling you, yes, it definitely does help me move through life. But does that mean that every day I go through life like, the little butterfly flicking from bloom to bloom? Are you kidding me? I mean, yes.
I will say, just knowing you and kind of doing life with you for a while now, you have been through some ups and downs, but what sets you apart is the way you accept things, and you're so forward moving and you don't let it like weigh you down. It affects you a little bit, and then like you purposefully change your mindset and get on a path of forward motion. You don't marinate in your disappointment, and you're never victim-y. You're always like, and even though it gives you a whirlwind sometimes.
Yeah, because if just so everybody listening, I've probably had like 2 years of incredible transformation. Like, like life, like I'll say life uplifting, but within that uplifting, there's been some work. But that doesn't mean that even though I have I can connect with other realms, if you will, it doesn't mean that it's not like there's days I'm just like, oh my gosh. It doesn't mean that. There's still lessons. There's still like, oh my gosh, why did I do that? And here I am again being humbled. Look at what I did. Right?
Look at what I did now.
Please don't look. Right? It just happens.
Yes, because you're having a human experience, as we all are. Like here we are.
Can I share something else?
Oh yes.
So as you know, I'll have a new blog coming out on Wednesday, tomorrow, and I always do a channel message. And another thing that you know about me, I get so much information when I'm out on the trails. Like when I'm out by myself, I'm listening to music and just whatever. And I was hearing the word. So this one is about connecting to other realms. And I was hearing the word burgeoning. Okay, I don't use that word. And so I was like, okay, exactly. And I was hearing burgeoning weight of our spiritual, like of our awareness growth, of this spiritual awareness. And so I'm like, okay, I got to Google like,
I was just going to say, somebody tell me what it means.
It's rapid growth.
Ooh.
Right. And so that's what we're going through right now.
So just in what we've talked about, we keep pinging growth. Like, I feel like it is an underlying message of what we're saying. Growth, which I'm here for. I love a good growth period. Growth is never easy. Like, side note, growth always.
It's opportunity to pause. It definitely brings opportunity to pause. Mm-hmm. Because there's always like this opportunity to be like, it's, you know what, it's opportunity to choose again, because there's always something that we're like, we come up against something and we're like, do we want to deal with this right now? Mm-hmm. Or do we want to put that on the back burner? Do we want to turn right? Do we want to turn left? I mean, how many things, Kristin, have you in your life thought, yeah, this is something that needs my attention. I can't do it right now.
Often that comes to me, but I will say that here's how my life path works. I'll be curious to see if yours is the same. I will, know that I need to deal with something and just kind of like, and there's plenty of other things rolling, and it builds like a snowball effect until it is so in my face that it blows up and I must deal with it. So I have learned, if I have an inkling of something needs my attention and I put it on the back burner for only so long before I really do address it. And I think this is how life is designed, how growth is designed. We're supposed to progress, and you can't progress without doing a little analysis of, hey, where am I now? What's working and what's not? So it's like every step is an opportunity to shift your direction. And if you should be shifting to get to your higher self and you're not, then a roadblock comes up, sometimes real big, sometimes just enough to get your attention. But I think it depends on where you're at in your life chapter and how blind you are or how much attention needs to be thrown at you.
Right? Because it takes energy.
Yeah.
Look, at the sun is pouring in right now, but it does take energy. But I think it's important. Okay, here's another thing is like, say somebody has several things going on in their life, several areas of their life where they would really love to see change. Choose one and really make the effort to smooth that out, to bring love and flow into it.
Mm-hmm.
That will move through all of your life, all of the areas.
Yeah.
Because, focusing on 1 versus 10, you will really see significant change. You'll see significant change in all.
Mm-hmm. Focusing on the one that speaks loudly to you, which it doesn't have to be the one that so obviously needs change. It can be the one that just you feel more called to do. But once that shift happens, it changes your vibration and it's the trickle effect. And so all areas become up-leveled. And
just also for people listening, if you're feeling like, oh my God, I'm stuck and I just need, I need change, choose the one that you feel like, I can do this. I can make changes. Do that. You don't have to go for the one that's like, you've got this big block and you're like, oh my God, I'm terrified. Don't choose that one. Choose one that's like, I can do this. This is manageable. Do that. There's nothing wrong with, me. I'm always saying I'm lazy.
Yeah. But there's a reason it feels manageable because it's calling you. Like it's the one you're connecting with.
Yeah, do it. I mean, just go for what feels like, okay, you can flow in this.
Yes.
And you will be surprised how it allows other doors to open.
Oh, agreed. I'm going to switch gears here.
Oh, please do.
Collective karma. I love the idea, but I also get a little nervous because I feel like if some small scale, if someone was to be like, what's the karma in that house? Then suddenly me and all my roommates have a bit of karma that we're putting out there. So it's like, oh, well, and there you go. Bigger than that is like the earthly karma, the collective karma, the shared karma that we have, and how that just kind of determines where we're going. You could really analyze this and talk about the US and the politics and things like that. I don't know if we're going to go there right now, but you could.
Absolutely.
And yeah, it's equal parts scary to me because I know I'm only one person, but also empowering because I think it does say, hey, you're one person and you can change, like your energy is impacting the world.
Okay. Yes. Absolutely. Okay. So here's one thing that I have been, the way it's explained to me or shown to me is, and it's so funny because they'll show me like, it's not, I don't think it's really our fingerprints per se, but each one of us comes in with a code or a key or a print is the way they show it to me. And each one of us comes in with that, and our ability to maximize our connection with other realms, our ability to maximize our expansion. That's the way I'm going to put it. Our individual ability to maximize our connection is really what shifts the collective. And so it is on it is, and I think that's the burgeoning weight, is that we do have this, it's like for us to each expand individually really does impact the collective, if you will.
And I love for people to think about that because sometimes it's easy to get so involved and consumed with your own journey that you forget that you are part of the people and that the things you do are important and impactful and matter. And any up-leveling you can do is not only going to help yourself, obviously, but it does impact everyone and everything for the better. So there's a certain amount of responsibility.
And to also be aware, and I keep going back on this, but to also, we're human. right? We are human. We do make mistakes. We do
every day.
Yeah, we do sometimes choose the wrong words when we're communicating with somebody else. We do, right? We are, and maybe that's a good question, is like, when we choose the wrong words when parenting our teenagers, because I've still got one and two others are in their 20s, but when we choose the wrong words when we're parenting our teenagers, that can be impactful. Maybe that's a little bit of the karmic experience of that relationship between you and them. I don't know, right? But again, we can only do our best. We can only do our best. And also to know it's easier to do our best when we have less complications in our life.
Oh, so true.
Choose the path with less complications. But when you still have a house full of clamoring children, right? And maybe you work and maybe you're married, right? So you have a lot of opportunity. There's a lot of opportunity.
There is
opportunity
for growth.
Yes. So we can, okay, so we've got to pull our cards soon because we're running out of time. But we could talk about this so many times, right? Because karma is such a big, there's so much.
Oh, there's so much.
So much to talk about, so much to explore.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? I am going to pull a card on the karma of on the collective for this week, the energy of the collective for this week.
Okay, I like that. I got to mix mine up really well. What deck are you using?
Oh, I'm traveling with this little angel tarot that I love. Yeah, the Angels Tarot.
Love that.
It has been the one I've been using for a bit.
You can't go wrong working with the angels.
You cannot go wrong. And if you do, you can choose again.
That's true, my friend.
Thank God. Thank God. Thank you.
Oh my gosh. You just said, and if you do, you can choose again. And I need to show you my card.
But
the turnaround.
I love that.
I do too. I love everything about this. I love the idea of a revolution of like within, like everything is growth and you're moving forward. You hit a bump, you analyze, maybe turn around. You move forward again. It's just like, I see someone just on a path and hitting like a little bump and it bounces them back, and just like a little, I don't know, like a video game, they go doot, 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 and then kind of forward in a different way. Yeah. And it's, every path is good. Every path has a lesson. Every path has people that you need to meet. So it takes the idea of judgment and wrong out of it. And it's just an adventure. And you're going to learn different things and you're going to feel different things. And it's all okay and appropriate and the way it's supposed to be. And just have faith and enjoy it. Have fun with it. And know that you can always turn around. Always.
Always. And I think part of that is resiliency. And that's something, ask your angels for resiliency.
Yes. Ask them for anything that you might need to get through what is coming for you that day.
Yes.
And to do it with joy.
And do it with joy. And okay, I'm just going to put like a little prayer out there for everybody listening. And just in case there's somebody listening that feels like, you know what, I don't have anybody that I can talk to about, this stuff with. I'm going to just send a little prayer for the collective, that everybody finds that person that they can talk, or that person, that group that they can reach out and have these conversations with, because it's such a beautiful, it's a gift.
It is such a gift, and it's available to everyone. Yes. But we have to know that we're asking for it and believe that it's happening and it's there. It's so available.
We have just a few minutes left.
Yes.
This is the card that I pulled, Two of Swords. And the way I'm looking, so this is the energy of the karma for the collective right now. The way I'm looking at it is we're really being asked to let go of our fears, to let go of our fears. Because if we let go of our personal fears, whatever they may be, and they could be like, there's wars going on, right? There's a million things going on. Let go of our fears and look at what's working.
And focus on that.
And focus on that. So let our collective karma be letting go of our fears and looking at what's working. Because if we're looking at what's working, that can help us move forward, a forward motion in unity.
I love it.
So that's not just for, it is the collective, but it's also asking each of us to let go of our fears and look at what's working.
Yes. Polly, you have mentioned a couple times today about your blog. So tell the people where they can catch this blog and read more of your writings.
Thank you. Okay, so you can go to Your Tango, and I think it's under advisors. I don't really know what it's on. Just Google my name. Go to Your Tango, and I think it says specialists, and then just Google my name. So my stuff is frequently found on Your Tango. You can find it on my website, which is pollywirum.com. You can also find my writing in the magazine. Eden Magazine. Thank you.
I love that magazine. I'm a big fan. Yeah. And you can follow Eden on Instagram. You can follow Polly on Instagram, Polly_Wirum. You can follow Kristin at Garage Pilates, all one word. And then this radio show, our Instagram is truth.wellness.psychic. And if we have given you a thought, you have a question, it comes to you at any time, send us a message on Instagram, contact us on our websites, and let us know what you're thinking. And we would love to discuss any suggested topics on air.
Yes. And our April retreat is sold out. But for people that want to join us in the way we move through life, stir things up and let things settle, we'll have a fall retreat. So reach out or continue listening to us and decide. Yeah,
yes.
I'd like to spend a weekend with them.
It'll be a good time.
Yes, it will be. Lots of fun and adventures and psychic tales, psychic experiences. So always. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, Kristin. Thank you for the people at Transformation Network for the support. And it's been a lovely day.
A lovely day. We'll see you later. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Thanks for calling into Truth, Wellness, and Psychic Adventures. We are psychic life coaches, Polly and Kristin, taking your calls at 1-800-930-2819 every second and fourth Tuesday at 10 a.m. Pacific on TransformationTalkRadio.com. To work with us individually, visit pollywirum.com and garagepilates.net. Follow us on Instagram at truth.wellness.psychic and at Polly_Wirum and at Garage Pilates. We can't wait to share the next episode with you.